Hello, welcome to the Mr.G podcast. Today's Sunday, January 21st, 2024. This is part two. We had a stop in recording earlier. I'm coming to you from Honolulu, Hawaii, on the outskirts of Chinatown. It's very warm. It's probably about 70 degrees, which is much different than on the mainland United States, where people are dealing with a huge ice storm, a huge freeze. Um, Earlier, I said a prayer for a missing friend, Spidey, and also a prayer for a friend, Mike, who is just getting out of the hospital, who was in a car accident. So it's a rough world, everybody. Let's remember that and try to be kinder to our fellow human and realize that it's a miracle that we're all here. And if you make it to old age, it's a blessing. So with that being said, have you guys heard about the Apple car? It's coming out possibly as early as 2026 with the modest price tag of $100,000. But from the looks of it, it seems like it's something that's going to be worth the price. I'm a new Apple connoisseur. I just started using them a few years ago, and I'm very happy with Apple. And Apple has dedicated users. Once you go Apple, you don't go back. All right, and um, and so the Apple Car is something that I'm really looking into. It's a completely self-driving car. There's other companies that are ahead of the game of Apple with self-driving cars. Other companies like Zoom, Waymo, and Cruise. They have hundreds of test vehicles on the roads as I currently speak. The Apple Car recently, it was in the news because they upgraded from a few test cars to 68 test cars. So they're still behind the other companies, but that's okay because Apple, as long as they're with the stream of things, they'll be okay. If you look at pictures of this Apple car, uh, what do you think it looks like? It's like one of the first cars without a windshield, and it basically looks like an iPhone with wheels. It's an iPhone with wheels, is what it is. But it looks really cool. It looks really futuristic. They recently had to get a patent on a new kind of airbags because the Apple car has never before used reclining seats that are supposed to be able to recline every which way so you can lay down, you can sit up, you can sit in all different directions, and the vehicle will just take you to your destination. And this is the wave of the future. This is where things are going. Soon all cars will be automated. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't need to, have control of a 2,000-pound piece of steel to feel like a man. When I was 18, I drove a 1972 Chevy pickup truck, and it was bright orange. And I can see that appeal of driving a vehicle. But those are times of past. They're not going to give out driver's licenses in the future. You're going to have to get a special license and drive on a special track. So you either beat them or you join them. And that's true with all technology. Uh, so the Apple Car, $100,000, but I think it would definitely be worth it. And personally, I like to be um, it's not I don't like to multitask. There's a difference between multitasking and being proactive. I like to be proactive. An example of being proactive would be getting into an automated vehicle like an Apple car and reading the newspaper on your way to work, or doing your homework on your way to school, or writing up a report on your way to the office. Doing that, when you're just sitting in the car. That's not multitasking. Multitasking is something like uploading and captioning videos while I'm talking to my girlfriend. That's multitasking. And they say multitasking is something that you shouldn't do and never works because you neglect each task. But being proactive is something that works. Another example of being proactive is if you're walking to the store, and on the way to the store, there's a mailbox. And as you're walking out, you see, oh, I have to put this mail in the mailbox. Well, I'm walking by the mailbox anyways. I might as well put this mail in the mailbox. So I just wanted to point out the difference. I was explaining that yesterday to somebody, the difference between being proactive and being and multitasking. So I really like this Apple Car idea. I think it's a really cool thing. Um, I let's see if we can find some things about it. They've been working on it since 2014. It's called Project Titan. More than 1,000 car experts and engineers are developing an electric vehicle with limited self-driving capabilities at a secret location in the company's headquarters. The Apple Car project has shifted and changes multiple times over the years. Over the last several years due to internal strife and leadership issues, but development is still on track. Though 2016 rumors suggested Apple shelved the plan for the car, by 2020 it was back on. In 2022, it revealed that Apple's plan for a fully autonomous vehicle was not going to work out due to laws and regulations. So they're going to have somebody be able to drive it. Apple is now rumored to be working on a semi-autonomous self-driving vehicle that will be able to drive on its own on highways, but will require manual driving in emergency situations and when on city roads. Apple originally planned to have a vehicle with no steering wheels or pedals, but the design is now more closely resembling a traditional vehicle. Oh, okay. So they were going to have a total vehicle where you could just sit down. That's what I want. I want a vehicle where I can just sit down and do my work on the computer. But they're like, no, that's too much. That's scary. Ah, that will only last a few years. Soon, they'll come out with these cars with a steering wheel and stuff. But then, then the consumers will be like, why do I have a steering wheel? I've never used it. Oh, it's for emergency situations. This car is a better driver than I am by far. This robot's a better driver than I am. People are going to be like, oh yeah, history is going to look back and be like, yeah, the laggards were a little timid of the new self-driving cars, so they had to make sure a steering wheel was in every one, just in case the car got a mind of its own, you know. So that's exactly what that is. But either way, they're heading in the right direction. There's a high-powered Apple-designed chip in the Apple Car, and it is the most advanced component that Apple has ever developed. 4 times the power of 4 Mac chips. It's made from neural processors that can handle the incredible AI load needed for autonomous vehicles. Because Apple has no experience with car manufacturing, it will need partners to produce the vehicle, and Apple is said to be working on security partnership in the automobile industry. It's not yet known who Apple will work with, but it's held discussions with Hyundai and other companies. The Apple Car has been described as Apple's next star product, with Apple able to offer better integration of hardware, software, and services than potential competitors in the automotive market. The Apple Car is likely to be marketed as a high-end vehicle rather than the standard electric vehicle, but Apple is aiming for a price starting at about $100,000. In June of 2017, Apple CEO Tim Cook spoke publicly about Apple's work on autonomous driving software, confirming the company's work in a rare, candid moment. So, would you buy an Apple car? Is the Apple Car going to be as popular as the iPhone? I think 58 million iPhones were sold, iPhone 15s were sold last year. So are they going to be as successful? I think that they will be if history repeats itself. Apple doesn't have many flops. The big news is their headgear that's coming out, and that is the what is that? That comes out real shortly. But I would much rather pay for $100,000 vehicle than I think it's 20,000 or no, it's $10,000 resale for the Apple headset, and then it's starting if you can get one because they're only making a certain amount. If you can get one of the headsets, the Apple headsets, it's like $2,500, but the resale is like $10,000. So people love Apple, but I don't know if they love Apple that much to pay that much for a headset. But if somebody can't afford it, they will pay $100,000 for an Apple car because those are going to be better than the Teslas. When Teslas first came out, that was like the car that everybody, was wanting to be seen in. No, it's going to be the Apple car. People are going to want to get out of an Apple car with their iPhone, and that's where it's going right now. So congratulations to Apple. I like Apple products, and I'm going to be first in line for the Apple car too. Okay, so with that said, one more thing I want to talk about, and that is September 24th, 1991, my 12th birthday. So does anybody know what happened on September 24th, 1991? I turned 12 years old. My twin brother turned 12 years old. but also it was a historic day in history and music history, to be precise. On this day, on September 24th, 1991, for whatever reason, a numerous epic musical albums came out. And just a few of those are Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, their album Nevermind came out on September 24th, 1991. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out on September 24th, 1991 with the famous song Under the Bridge. A Tribe Called Quest came out with their album The Low End Theory on September 24th, 1991. Van Morrison's famous album Hymns to the Silence came out on September 24th, 1991. The Pixies' Trompe le Monde album came out on September 24th, 1991. The Colts' Ceremony album came out on September 24th, 1991. And Soundgarden's Bad Motor Finger was also scheduled for release on September 24th, but was pushed back to October 8th due to production problems. Bryan Adams' Waking Up to Neighbors came out on September 24th. And yeah, and so that was my birthday, my 12th birthday. I can tell you what I was doing on that day. I was in 6th grade. But they say that's a historic day in music, and for whatever reason, all those albums came out on the same day. I guess that's not like a huge deal to most people. It's like, oh, that's interesting. All those albums came out on the same day. Done. You know, done. That's all I need to know. It's a day that a bunch of albums came out. But with me, it's more like, yeah, but it was my birthday. Oh, I was 12 in 6th grade. It's all about me and my birthday. I like that Nirvana Nevermind album, that Red Hot Chili Peppers album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I love the Pixies. And since it was my birthday, it was all for me. You know, all right. So that's my birthday. If anybody wants to get me something, September 24th. And I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Audacity Podcasts, it's on the RSSF feed. So it's sent out to all these different places. And if you want to watch the video in its entirety, because I also make AI clips of this podcast and upload it on TikTok, Mr.G podcast on TikTok. And also I upload the entire podcast on twitter.com/Gregory Brandt and youtube.com/Gregory Brandt. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful Sunday. And from me and my street kitties, aloha. Shout out to Irene and her awesome hoodie she got me here. Everybody have a great day. Stay warm.